Human resources analytics with Elevator. My name is Bill Yost. About 4 years into my synaptivity, an opportunity at Google presented itself to join the reporting and insights team, which propelled me into people analytics proper, where then I was working with like lots and lots of like-minded people analysts. So I got to see kind of both sides of the spectrum of how much investment one would put in analytics. Because what do we actually mean when I say analytics? If we ask Wikipedia, it says business analytics refers to the skills, technologies, and practices for continuous iterative exploration and investigation of past business performance to gain insight and drive business planning. That's a lot of words, right? Less verbose, using data to answer questions. You're using data to answer the questions you have about the business, forecast something, predict something. And those are all just at their core answering questions. The top of the circle, prescriptive metrics. It's not only can we forecast what's going to happen, we can tell you what you should do to change that forecast to bend it to your whim, right? That is just analytics. We did it, everybody, right? Of course we want that, right? Most companies want the P analytics. Like that makes the most sense. It's totally, I get it. But the reality is even just getting those D analytics set up and scaled is a gigantic lift. And basically this whole course from the 12 classes is surrounding around this idea of the analytic value chain. And that basically means you start with an opinion, you take that opinion and you observe it through data. So this opinion might be, this new policy has so much, leading to so much turnover, this policy is bad. The data is, well, do we have any information about the views on these particular policies? Like what can we know, like just in raw numbers, how people feel about this? We convert those data into metrics, like can we trend the favorabilities of these over time? Can we cross them with attrition for maybe other cohorts of people who feel differently about the policies? There's this book that I have right here, and it's in the resources. You don't need to go buy a book, but if you'd like to, I like to have this on hand. It's the Practical Guide to HR Analytics, and it just has a lot of really quick references and helpful glossaries to be able to look things up quickly. And according to this book, there are 8 real categories of HR metrics: compensation, function efficiency, learning and development, productivity, retention, talent acquisition, well-being, and workforce demographics. If you can't trust your spreadsheets, who can you trust? So it takes but one data error to Thanos snap your analytics, insights, and jazzy findings away. That's a real quote from me just now. And it's never a bad idea to treat your data with skepticism, like even when it's from a trusted partner. A company has 30 employees on the 1st of January and 150 at the end of the year. 20 people were fired at that time, during that time. What is the attrition rate? Well, Bill said in class 1 that you don't have to memorize all the metrics, so you can just look them up. So what is attrition rate? You're right, just look it up. It's the number of terminations divided by the average headcount, which begs the question, what is the average headcount for the company? Remember, we have very limited information right now. So in the absence of any further information, all I can really do is take those 2 numbers and average them and say there's 90 employees. And then I take those 20 terminations and I divide it by the 90 employees and I get a 22% attrition rate. To summarize this data, I'm going to write this SQL query and just go through it line by line, all right? Select is the first word that's always going to be in a SQL. It means pick this data, right? A typical query is structured as select from, optionally where. Select number of responses from the data table where username is Bill. Gets me my record from the data. Some of the techniques, right, that I was thinking about as I was building this, your slide should stand on its own. I mentioned that, right? You should be able to print it, give it to somebody. Now you have the findings. You shouldn't need the slides before it. You shouldn't need the slides after it, unless there's explicit references to see this slide or whatever. Make sure that this stuff can be printed. Simple charts are better charts. Like results to your leadership are not when you pilot your jazzy new 45-point data visualization. Keep it simple. Histograms, bar charts, line charts, pie charts, donut charts, but only if there's 4 or less slices. If there's more than 4 slices in your pie chart, I didn't write this down, now you're in bar chart territory. Don't ask any more questions, just do it. You won't regret it. Use color sparingly because it can be distracting. Tableau has very intuitive data joining that makes that SQL scary stuff a lot easier. In fact, a whole lot easier. I think it's important to know that like SQL is back there. When you're joining stuff up in Tableau, it's writing SQL that you can't see, but you can bypass that. And Tableau is free and it allows like robust and beautiful visualization options. I've made just some very pretty things there, and the barrier to doing so is not high. It connects to many data sources natively. Using drag and drop now, you can start to get to just some pretty fun stuff by just seeing what happens if you click stuff. So if I bring, let's say, state and sales, and I hold the control button to collect, so to highlight state and sales, I hit show me, Tableau is going to pre-populate a number of visualizations that it thinks it's going to highlight them here that it thinks might work, depending on the two things that you've selected. So let's try a bubble chart. We're going to take a wild left turn into the theory of pie charts, because someone put a pie chart in their assignment. I was like, oh my goodness, what a great opportunity to talk about what is a surprisingly contentious subject in the data visualization world. I love this meme on the right with this is a pie chart describing my favorite bars, and this is the bar graph describing my favorite pies. So using pies for small slices. The punchline is right here in the title. There are no secrets, there are no big reveals. Do it, sure, go for it, right? If I'm talking about number of gold medals and I'm saying there is 27% gold and 49% silver and 23% bronze, cool, pie chart. If you click the analytics tab, that's going to open up all of the analytic options that you have for this view in Tableau. And one of them is forecast, right? So if I take forecast and drag it over here and just let go, it just does it. And that's where I said, like, this is where you can get really irresponsible with forecasting if you want to, and you can use it with caution. And a line graph can just tell a really compelling story. Like, you know, maybe you have 5 search terms that you're really interested in, like slap, alopecia, Oscars, Will Smith, and Chris Rock. Just using a trend line, you can find really interesting insights. Like, I am almost certain that these yellow peaks are every year that the Oscars hits. Will Smith probably had a pretty big breakout movie in, what would that be, Q1 2016? Sorry, there, too on the nose of an example here for this one. And then, you know, Chris Rock, he's just doing real well recently. And Will Smith is approaching his most interests in all time. So I hope you have a really good weekend, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday.